Well, hello everybody, welcome to Jeff's baking blog. Today I'm going to make some orange curd. So this is similar to lemon curd obviously, but made with oranges. Now I personally think the best oranges to make this with is Seville oranges, but they're only available for a few weeks at the start of the year. So if you don't have them, any oranges will do basically. Seville oranges are slightly more bitter, so maybe the flavour is slightly different with those. But anyway, it's fairly simple to make this, and once made you can store it in a clean jar or an airtight container in the fridge for between 2 weeks and a month, if it lasts that long. But because it doesn't keep much longer than 2 weeks to a month, I tend to make it in small amounts. Marmalade I can make in sort of large amounts, 12 jars of marmalade. I think I made 11 to 12 pounds of marmalade recently. But for this this orange curd, it's just going to be 2 small jars or 1 large jar. So I'll go on to the ingredients. And for this I have 200 millilitres, which is half a cup plus a third of a cup of freshly squeezed orange juice. I have 150 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and I'm using caster sugar, but granulated is fine. I have 250 grams, which is 2 sticks plus 1.5 tablespoons of cold butter, which I've cut into pieces. I have 3 medium eggs, which would be large in the USA, and just for an extra bit of richness, 1 extra egg yolk, medium egg yolk, which would be large in the USA. And then I have zested 2 oranges, grating it like that, and I'm going to put that into the mixture. And I have another 2 oranges where I've just thinly peeled the zest off. And I've done that in 2 ways to show you that if you don't want to have zest in your eventual curd, doing it like this allows you to more easily fish it out of the curd before you put it in jars. If you do it like this, then, and you don't want the zest to be in the end result, you would have to then put that through a sieve to remove that zest. So this is quite simple, and again you can do this in 2 ways. You can put all these ingredients into a saucepan on a very, very low heat and stir it around. You need the heat low so that the eggs don't cook, and you will stir it around until everything is dissolved and it starts to thicken. Or you can put everything into a bowl, which is what I'm going to do, and put this bowl over a pan of simmering water, again on a lowish heat, and stir in the bowl until it thickens. So I'll put the ingredients into the bowl, and I should say that the amount of zest you use, if you're going to use any zest, is entirely up to you, because there's a lot of flavour in the zest. So if you want it stronger, then that's fine. I'm going to use the zest of 4 oranges in mine, and then I'll put the eggs in as well, and the egg yolk, and then the butter. And I'm simply going to put this on the heat, and I'm going to stir it and whisk it until it all thickens, and I'll show you that. So I have my heat on, and it's on the lowest possible setting for the time being, and I'm simply going to stir this with a spoon until the butter melts. Then I will stir it with a whisk, it will be easier. Now as you can see, the butter is beginning to melt because the bowl is becoming warm, and I will soon start to whisk that, because the butter will then incorporate better into the mixture, and I will keep whisking it until it thickens. And what I'll try to do is test it to see if it coats the back of this spoon, the mixture, and I will also test the temperature, and hopefully the temperature will reach about 80 Celsius, which would be 180 Fahrenheit, and that would let me know that the mixture and the curd, orange curd, will set much firmer once it's cooled down in a jar. So as you can see, just stirring that, the butter seems to be coming together as it melts. And I will whisk it gently. I don't want to do it too hard, because it will create foam. But it will stop the eggs from scrambling. And then at any time you want to, you can simply pick out those larger pieces of zest, and you can put the entire thing through a sieve to remove the remaining zest if you want to. So, as you can see, it now coats the back of a spoon, and if I run my finger through it like that, you can see that it leaves a track. So that's now cooked enough, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer that into a jug, just so that I can pour it into my jars that much, or jar, because I'm going to use a big jar, that much easier. So I have a jar here and my funnel, and I have my curd in a jug, and I could just pour that straight into the jar and the zest would be in it, but I'll show you that you can actually put it through a sieve to remove that zest if you want to. And then you may just have to agitate the sieve a little bit where the zest gets stuck on the bottom, but that's fine, it will pour through. And the temperature of my curd reached just about 80 degrees, 180 Fahrenheit, 80 Celsius. I used a glass bowl for mine, which doesn't conduct heat as well as a metal bowl, but it also means that it doesn't get hot so quickly, and so the chances of the egg scrambling were reduced, so that's why I used it. So I've filled my jar here with the curd, and I've put some in a little bowl with some of the zest in as well, just so that I can feel the texture of the zest. So I'm going to close that jar, and I have half another jar over behind me as well, and I'm going to let that cool completely, and then it's going to go into the fridge. This little one I will cool on the counter, and once that's cooled and set firmer, I will come back and we'll have a taste of it. I've let the small little dish of orange curd set, so it's cooled down and it's set up. So this is what it looks like. I've taken a spoon of it here, and it sets up quite nicely, as you can see. So this is ideal for mixing into plain yoghurt, for instance, or some cream. It's good for putting between layers of sponge cake, ideal on toast, or on with cream and on scones and things like that. So you can use it for whatever you want. As I said, this jar that I have made and the small jar that I've got as well will last 2 weeks to a month in the fridge. It won't last any longer than that, but I think within 2 weeks I would probably have eaten most of that anyway. So that's I'll just have a taste of this spoonful. It's very, very good. Now that spoonful is from the part which I didn't strain the zest out, so I can taste some zest or feel some zest on my tongue. This jar has no zest in it at all, so it's going to be much, much smoother as well. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link for it below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future, so until then, happy baking.